for the industry 4.0. Without this, there will be some challenges or the problems, not only in providing connectivities for a number of IoT devices, but also in transforming and processing the huge volume of data that will be generated. The challenges or the problem can be any type. For example, let's say we want better efficiency from the component, various components, or the latency. We want to reduce the latency of the systems. Different IoT solutions will have different network requirement. Some devices like autonomous vehicles and medical equipment demand absolute reliability where low latency will be the critical. This is a very important aspect when we are talking about the IoT components, because let's say for example, in agriculture or the health sector, if IoT equipments are using, then there is a very important as far as the reliability and the latency parameter is concerned. So here in this slide, you can see that is showing about the Internet of Things, how this Internet of Things is overall view. Let's say here you can see that some devices mentioning here, and some people are mentioning, buildings are mentioning, some network is there, location is there, and context is there. So this all comprises about the IoT. If I'm talking about in one line how we can define the IoT is all about the automation system. How we can automate, that's about the IoT. And IoT refers to the interconnections of unique and independent objects and devices over the internet. When we hear the Internet of Things, what being referred is basically the machine-to-machine communication relationship between the remote control and the internet. Let's discuss some more practical examples how this IoT is working in our real world situations. For example, from smart home with smart fridge, smart heating, smart alarm system, wearing technologies, tracking your health system, fitness, and sleep. These are some popular examples in which IoT is used nowadays. As we know that IoT is already among us in a big way. It's your smart fridge alerting smart car that you are out of milk as you drive past the shop, and smart car dashboard notifying to pull in to next door to pick up some essential which are finished in your home fridge. So that's one of the example where we can use the IoT. As we know that in European system, in European countries, the cold, as we are in winter season here in the Europe, the temperature, we want to, let's say, maintain the temperature of the room, then we use this IoT kind of devices to maintain or to heat up the room inside the house or the office buildings. It is when we step out and lock the front door behind you, your smart home automatically turning off all the lights and appliances. So this saves energy lot for the devices, or you can say the electricity bill, what we have here. Now, one more example I want to mention here to make it more interesting about the Internet of Things. For example, in our refrigerator, would be able to measure the remaining food inside. What means, let's say how much you have the bread or how much you have the vegetables or any other food inside. And you have the remote devices which are connected with the help of the state-of-art technology IoT, which shows that which item is going to finish and which item is having in which quantity. For example, the milk, egg, or any kind of the essential which you have in your fridge system. The refrigerator will continuously measure the stock and act independently accordingly. So this is about the IoT, which I have mentioned here, some few examples which we use in our daily life. This is one of the flow of the 5G, which is the 5th generation mobile network, which is the our FDP title, IoT and the 5G. So therefore, I want to mention a little bit about the 5G also, that how this 5G came in the picture. From 1st, if we have a look here, in 1979, the introduction of the 1st generation technology, where we have the analog telecommunication system. Then after in 1991, 2G, 2nd generation came with the text messaging system. Then after in 1998, 3rd generation mobile and wireless internet connections came in the picture. In 2008, the another emerging technology, which is very popular also nowadays, the concept of the cloud, IP, and truly mobile broadband concepts came in 2008. Then in 2019, the launch of 5G, 5th generation, which provides the unlimited data capacity, came into the picture. So before I go further for the 5G concepts, I want to mention one example how this works in real world. For example, when we are talking on phone, speaking to someone on a cellular device is considered normal human behavior. But have you wondered what exactly happens to your voice and how is it sent across someone miles away? For example, if I'm talking from one of my family member or one of my friend from Europe to India, then how these signals transform, that's very important aspect behind this 5G technology. So let's understand this. Your phone has a small component called the microphone, which pick up your voice. An inbuilt integrated circuit helps the microphone to convert the analog signal made by you into the digital signal. The antenna in the mobile phone transmit this digital signal in the form of the electromagnetic waves to a cell tower, which in turn send them to corresponding cell tower in the recipient area. The receiving tower then transmit the electromagnetic waves to cellular device of the recipient, where the reverse process of conversion take place, and that person hear your voice. By this way, two persons are communicating through this technology. So here, 5G wireless technology is used to provide higher multi-gigabyte per gigabyte speed, low latency, more reliability, massive network capacity, increased availabilities. These are basically the features which is provided by the 5G technology. Higher performance and improved efficiency empower new user experiences in the 5G. So, for any technology, there are some underlying technology works. Here, in the case of 5G, 5th generation, is based on OFDM, which is the acronym for the orthogonal frequency division multiplexing, is a method for modulating a digital signal across several different channels to reduce the interferences. 5G is designed to not only deliver faster, better mobile broadband services compared to previous generation, whether it is the 1st generation, 2nd generation, 3rd generation, 4th generation, but can also expand into newer service areas such as mission critical communication and connecting to the massive IoT. Means we can integrate the various other technologies along with this 5G technologies. So let's have a look how we can integrate the IoT with the 5G. This is one of the snapshot here, which shows about the 5G and IoT, how this advanced level works in between the different devices together. The advanced level of interconnectivity between devices, system, and networks. It essentially refers to the smart communication that smart object and devices used between each other to enable the automation of functions through smart network. That's the basic concept of the 5G IoT, because 5G is a unified, more capable air interface. It has been designed with the extended capacity to enable next generation user experiences, empower new deployment models, and deliver new services. With this high speed, we can improve the reliability, our latency, and complete ecosystem in different kind of application, whether it is a healthcare, whether it is a transportation, whether it is a agriculture, or any other kind of real-time applications. Here, one more thing is very important to talk about: the low latency, broad bandwidth, and high speed. These are the key parameters which comes into the picture when we are talking about the 5G IoT. The example corresponding to health sector are the perfect example of the use of 5G in the area of IoT. That needs a broad bandwidth with a high speed to stream a video in real time and the low latency. Here, the latency is a very important parameter, which I want to mention something more about the latency. The number of delay produced by the intermediate node in the path of information through a network. So basically, we want to maintain that one also in the 5G network. As the movement made by the surgeon or the doctor, our communication band must be reproduced immediately by a robotic arm, and the delay may be endanger the life of a patient. Because in the healthcare sector, the latency is important when we measure the patient data. So in that, the 5G can play a very important role. Now, another area you can say about the 5G, where we can use the 5G IoT application, is the industrial Internet of Things, which is very popular across the world by the name of IIoT. In that one also, we can implement the 5G application area. We will therefore be able to have some kind of, the perfect measurement parameters. By that, we can improve the overall efficiency of the system. Here, one more example where we can use the 5G IoT system is the light sensor in the public street light, because nowadays, that in many countries, these energy efficient devices are used. In that one, the solar also play a very important part. In that one, we can use the 5G IoT concepts in the public street lights that allow them to light up automatically, and above all, vary their intensity according to the surrounding light, reporting the situations or any incident that stop the street light from operating correctly to a central system. Any country government can implement that kind of system also and can improve the existing system. Here, if I'm talking about some more example, let's say, for example, Government of India also initiated many projects, let's say the smart city projects in different states, in many cities. In that one, that can be a milestone technology for the improvement for the situations. Another applications for the 5G IoT in augmented reality, and in the industrial IoT applications, we can also use that 5G IoT combination, which is the hybrid kind of combination and which can make an impact in the society. Now, here, this is one of the important parameters which I have discussed, how we can improve the latency, the reliability, and efficiency by combining the 5G and IoT. So that shows about this, how we can improve the data rates, battery life. So these are basically the measurement parameters. We can measure the performance of any system by using these parameters here. Now, We have discussed about the IoT and the 5G. Now, what are the components which makes the IoT devices and which are very essential for any IoT devices? So, four major components. The first one is here the sensor or the device. Then we have the connectivity. Then the third one is the data processing. And the fourth one, we have the user interfaces. The first one, we have the sensor and the devices. It is the first and foremost component to consider in the Internet of Things is the sensor. Sensors picks up all the minute details from the environment. These sensors are built on the devices which collect all the data to be used later. For example, our phone is having a built-in sensor, like like we are using the Google Map. If you want to find out any location also, it means some sensors are there which works here in mobile phone, the GPS or the camera. If I'm talking about different kind of sensor, we have the temperature sensors also, which measures the temperature information in the IoT devices. So this is one of the foremost component for the IoT ecosystem. Now, the second one, we have the connectivity. Connectivity to the cloud. Once the data is collected, it is transformed to the cloud infrastructure. Basically, the cloud infrastructure is the form of the IoT platform. I'm going to discuss more about the IoT platforms in my coming slides, where I will mention that what are the cloud platform, what are the IoT platforms which we use and which are available in the market by different service providers. So transferring the data, the device will need a medium, because whenever you want to transfer the data, we need a medium, and that medium is here the IoT platform. So these medium are different and must be chosen wisely for the best result, because a variety of players is there in market. So we have to choose the best one which suits as per the organization requirement. And the effectiveness of IoT security highly depend on the speed and the availability of this medium. Because, let's say when we want to connect with any devices, the speed and the efficiency matters. So in that case, this IoT platform plays a major role in the component system. Now, the third component we have here is the data processing. The data processing, once we have the data, now after that, what we want to process our data to get some result. So after reaching the cloud infrastructure, the data has to be analyzed so that right action can be taken place for the processing data. And as we know, the processing data is called the information. So the information is very important for individual as well as for the organizations. So the analysis can be simple by checking the temperature in the temperature oriented devices. Let's say, for example, if we are using the AC and we are connected with AC through the IoT devices, then that can be used for the analysis purpose. The IoT application is made such that it can process all the data at a faster rate to take immediate actions, as we are using the computer devices in the same manner. For example, we are giving the instructions and then we are getting the results very fast. So in the similar way, this data processing take place in the IoT ecosystem. The fourth important component here is the user interface. In user interface will provides the command or operating system on the operating dashboard system. For example, the IoT system is connected through your mobile app. So we can give some instruction or the command and we can get some results. So that's very important. And apart from these four IoT component system, I want to mention is the IP addresses also play a very important role, because how we can recognize the each and every IoT device or the component. That is the IP addresses, which is the we use the IPv6. Before that, IPv4 was used, because now we have more and broader address capability in the IPv6, and which was launched in the 2012. So these are some major components which we have discussed here in the IoT ecosystem. Because, and what are the challenges or the limitations we have here is that these are all automated system. Now, what if you want to do some kind of manual system, then there is a challenge or some issues are there. So which one also we'll discuss, how that can be operated by manually also, even though we have the automated system also. So these are the major components which we have discussed, and in a brief form here, all these 4 components. First one, we have discussed about the sensor, that we have the environment, and environment can measure the temperature, environment can measure the noise or whatever the activity is going in the system. So then we will get the data, and after collection of the data, we need some internet connectivity, and the medium which we are going to store our data is the cloud storage. And the third one, we have discussed about the data processing, that once we have our data on the cloud, then how we can analyze that data. So that comes under the data processing step. And once we have our analyzed data, then how we can interpret the information or to user. So that is the user interface. I hope my voice is audible to all audiences.
Yes, sir.
All right, Amit. All right. So the next one is the IoT architecture. This is the IoT architecture which works behind any kind of applications. As you can see here, that we have the different things, or you can say the component here. The first one, we use the things. Thing is an object equipped with sensors that gather data, which will be transformed over the network, and actuators that allow things to act. For example, when we switch on or switch off the light, open or close the door, or we want to increase or decrease the speed. So these comes under the things. Now the second thing we have here is the gateway. Gateway means is the same how we can enter any in a house or any building through the gate. So similar, the gateway works here. The data goes from the things to the cloud. As you can see on the top of the diagram, that through the gateway, the data is transferred to the cloud, and vice versa. Means the data will also, because we want to fetch the data also from the cloud for the processing part through the gateway. A gateway provides the connectivity between the things and the cloud, part of the IoT solutions, enable data pre-processing and filtering before moving it to cloud, and transmit control commands going from the cloud to the things. Things then execute commands using their actuators. So that's about the gateway. Now, then after, basically what kind of facility is, what kind of functionality provided by this cloud gateway? It facilitates the data compression and the secure data transmission between the gateway and the cloud IoT server. It also ensures the compatibility with the various protocols and communicate with field gateway using different protocols depending on what protocol is supported by the gateway. Because as we move further, we will know that a number of protocols is used in the IoT. So it's based on what kind of protocols we are using. So it works accordingly. Then we have here the streaming data processor. The streaming data processor ensure effective transitions of input data to a data lake and control application. No data can be occasionally lost or corrupted because data is important, so it is maintained in the data lake here. A data lake, as you can see in the center of this architecture diagram, there is a component which is here, is the data lake. A data lake is used for storing the data generated by the connected devices in the natural format. Big data comes in the batches or the streams. When the data is needed for meaningful insight, it is extracted from the data lake and loaded to a big data warehouse. So the big data also plays a role here for collecting the data in the form of the batches or the stream. Now, then the big data warehouse. In the center of this architecture diagram, we have the big data warehouse. Filtered and pre-processed data needed for meaningful insight is extracted from a data lake to a big data warehouse. So what is the role of here big data warehouse? A big data warehouse contains only the clean and structured matches data, and the data warehouse stores context information about the things and sensors. Because whenever we want the information, how we can extract that data to generate that required information is an important part in the big data warehouse. Now, then we have on the righter part, we have the data analytics. Data analytics can use data from the big data warehouse to find out the trends and gain actionable insight. When analyzed, big data show the performance of the devices, help to identify the inefficiencies and the work output to improve the IoT system. Means whatever the results is coming from that particular operations is shown by the data analytics in the form of different methods. It can be in the graphical form, it can be in the command mode, it can be in any other way, which is more user-friendly to the user or the organization. Now, on the top right corner side, we have a component here, which is also a part of IoT architecture. And this is a very popular technology also nowadays, which is the machine learning. And different models is used in the machine learning. In machine learning, what kind of technique is applied? It automatically trains the machine by using different models or by using different frameworks. So these models are regularly updated based on the historical data, whatever the data we are getting from IoT devices accumulated in a big data warehouse. When the applicability and the efficiency of the new models are tested and approved by the data analytics, the new models are used by the control applications. Then we have the control application, which is shown here in the green color here in the architecture diagram. It sends the automatic commands and alert to actuators for further processing part. For example, windows of the smart home can receive an automated command to open or close depending on the forecast taken from the weather service. For example, now the weather is rainy season. So we can give the command from our IoT device that whether we want to open or close the window in the smart home system. When sensor shows that the soil is dry, watering system get an automatic commands to water plants. This can be effectively used in the agriculture system. That let's say the land is dry and the farmer wants to give some kind of water to the farmer's land. then these IoT devices can play a very important role in controlling that applications. Now, sensors help monitor the state of industrial equipment, and in case of any failure for any kind of component in the industry, that then it will automatically notify to the manager of that company that this is a failure in that particular component, so it can be replaced as soon as possible. So it will improve the efficiency and overall cost of the organizations also. The command sent by the control app to actuators can also be additionally stored in the big data warehouse, because it's a two-way kind of communication. So we need some backup also for the data which is used. On the other side, storing command from control app may contribute to security, as an IoT system can identify that some commands are too strange or some commands are in a big fashion. So that can also help to identify the originality, that from which system this command is coming or not, and it will help to improve the security of the system also. The control application can either be rule-based or machine learning based. It can be both kind of commands we can apply in the system. In the rule-based, the control app work according to the rules stated by the specialists which are working for that IoT system. Now, whereas in the second case, which is the machine learning based, control app are using the models or the frameworks which are regularly updated with the historical data stored in our big data warehouse. So that's also the part of this architecture system. Then when we have a look here, that we have the user applications also. That user application are the software component for the IoT system, which enable the connection of users to an IoT system and given options to monitor and control the smart things. With a mobile app or web app, user can monitor the state of their things. Send commands to control application, set the options of automatic behavior, and this is the part of the user administration here. Now, then we have the device management. We can do the overall device management also by using this device management system. It ensures the sufficient functioning of the IoT devices is far not enough to install them and let things go their way. These are some procedures required to manage the performance of the connected devices. How we can do that one? That's also a very important part. We apply the device identification to establish the identity of the device, whether is the right device which we want to use in our system, to be sure that it is a genuine device and trusted software transmitting reliable data. Then in device management category, we do the configuration and control, which is used to tune the device according to the purpose of the IoT system. Because, for example, the purpose of the IoT system is to open and close the door. So that purpose will be fulfilled from the IoT devices. So we set some parameters for that system, and that is controlled by this configuration and control system. Means any kind of setting we can do here in this. Then we have the monitoring and diagnostic to ensure the smooth and secure performance of every devices in a network and reduce the risk breakdowns. Therefore, we use the monitoring and the diagnostic system. Then the software update and maintenance to aid functionality. Suppose we want to improve our system and we want to add some functionality also. And if some kind of errors or bugs is there, we can also remove that errors or bugs. And the security mechanism is also there for the system. Then the security is a very important aspect when we are talking about the IoT devices or IoT system. So how the security monitoring is done. And security is top of the concerns in the IoT devices. Connected things produce huge volume of data. Maybe you can say the billions or millions or trillions, and depend on the individuals or depend on the organization size, which need to be securely transmitted and protected from cyber criminals. Another side is that the thing connected to the internet can be entry point for villains, means hackers. What is more, cyber criminals can get the access to brain of the whole IoT system and take control of it. So therefore, we provide a security system to check whether the user is authenticated, or we maintain some kind of logs and analyze the various commands to control the control applications to the things and monitor the actions of the user and store all the data in the cloud for monitoring purpose. With such an approach, it is possible to address security breaches at the early stages and take measures to reduce their influences on the IoT system. So that's about the security monitoring system. So we have understand about this IoT architectures. Now I want to give one example which exactly related to this architecture. So here, this is the example. Have a look here that how this intelligent lighting system works through the IoT concepts. So let's see how this IoT architecture elements works together by the example of smart yard lighting as a part of the smart home. Because when we are talking about the smart city concept, we want to make everything in a smart fashion, whether it is your transportation, the smart transportation, the smart city is having the smart houses. So it's one of the example which can be used to make the city or the state or the country smart. A bright illustrations of how an IoT solution simultaneously contribute to the user convenience and save the energy system. There are various ways a smart lighting system can function. And if I'm talking about this smart lighting system here, you can see here that we have the data lake, big data warehouse. We have all that part, but how it works is important in the daylight or sound or kind of noise or the people movement, and how we can operate through any kind of mobile applications through your PD devices. So let's understand this. Sensors take the data from the environment. For example, the daylight, sounds, or people movement, or any rainy season also, that is also possible. Lamps are equipped with the actuators to switch the light on or off. A data lake stores the raw data coming from sensor. Data lake stores the raw data which is coming from the sensor. And then after, we have the big data warehouse contain the extracted information, smart home behavior in various ways of the week or save the energy cost and more. Then after, we have the system here as I have discussed in the previous slide that how we can control also manually. That kind of system should be there for effective controlling or monitoring ways. So if you have a look here, that in the purple block, in the rectangle purple block, we have the manual command to switch on also. The user control smart lighting system with the mobile app featuring the map of the yard. With the app, user can see which light are on or off and send the commands to control application that further transmit them to lamp actuators. Such an app can also show which lamps are about to be out of order. By using this technique, we can save the energy. As you can see that two lamps are lighting in the house, one is in the left and one is in the right hand side. Then how we maintain the data analytics on the lower side, how this works for the intelligent lighting system. Analyzing the way user apply smart lighting, the schedule, because the house owner, the organizations have their schedule, what time this light will on, what time the light will off. And other information gathered with the sensors, data analysis can make and update the algorithm for the control applications. Because we use some algorithms for automatic operations of this light system, because as we use the machine learning, so we have different kind of algorithms. So we'll apply that algorithms also to identify the different patterns. So the data analytics also helps in assessing the effectiveness of the IoT system and revealing problems in the way of revealing the problem, how the system works. For example, if a user switch off the light right after the system automatically switches it on and vice versa. There might be gap in the algorithm and it is necessary to address them as soon as possible, because let's say, for example, let's say in the evening, we want to turn on the light. So we'll give the command and accordingly it works. If there is any kind of delay, then we have to, how we can handle that delay is also to be addressed by different kind of algorithms techniques in the IoT system. Then we have here the automatic control options here. If you have a look here in the blue color block, the sensor monitoring natural light send the data about the light to the cloud. When the day light is not enough, the control app send the automatic commands to the actuators to switch on the lamp. The rest of the time, the lamp are switched off. However, a lighting system can be baffled by the street illumination, lamps from the neighboring yard, and other resources. So how that kind of situation will be also handled. So that can be addressed by the control application of the IoT system. When sensor monitors motion and sound, it is not enough just to switch on the light when movement or sound are identified in the yard, or switch all the lamps off in the silence. Movements and sound can be produced, for example, by pets. Cloud application should distinguish between human voices and movement and those of pets. The same is about the noise coming from the street or neighboring house and other sounds. To address this issue, it is possible to store example of the various sounds in the cloud and compare with the sound coming from the sensors. Because, when we have the automated system, it will recognize what we have in the existing system. So therefore, a number of voices is there. Let's say, for example, this kind of noises is coming. So that kind of pattern is stored in our cloud system, and that can be easily identified when the actual system works and give the better performance during our actual operations of the IoT system. For that, machine learning also play an important role here. In intelligent lighting, can apply models generated by machine learning. For example, to recognize the pattern of smart home owner behavior, means what time he leave, what time he's coming to home, and accordingly adjust the time when the light are switched on or off. Means you will set a kind of pattern that this time the light will be on and this time light will be off. So that kind of pattern will be effectively monitors by the help of different machine learning algorithms also. So that is called the pattern, analyzing pattern. Analyzing user behavior in long time perspective, a smart system can develop advanced behavior. For example, when sensors do not identify typical movement and voices, means we can set some kind of parameters, because that the person is not in the building from this time to this time. So we'll set that kind of pattern also. And that kind of pattern is also identified by the sensor. And in between that, if any activity is done, then it will automatically alarm the owner of that house. Okay, someone came to your house and this is the situations here. Now, then the user management option, how it works for this intelligent lighting system. To ensure efficient user management, the smart lighting system can be designed for several users. With the role distribution, means we can allocate different kind of role. In a similar way that when we use any kind of application, we have different kind of stakeholders. For example, in the university system, we have the students, we have the faculty members, we have the managers, we have the key stakeholders of that university also. So this system also can be managed in such a manner also that we can give different kind of privileges to different actors, and accordingly it works. For example, owners, inhabitants, guests. In this case, the user with the title owner will have the full control over the system, means having a full rights, including the changing the pattern of the smart light behavior and monitoring the status of the yard lamps, and priorities in giving the commands also. While the other user will have the access to a limited number of system functions, maybe the security guard in the system, or maybe any guest for that person. Like inhabitants will be enabled to switch on or off the lamps with the no opportunity to change the setting. Guest, when we are talking about the guest will be able to switch on and off the light in some part of the house and have no access to controlling the lights, for example, near the garage. So we set some kind of pattern also for different kind of user, and that can be done by the admin, or you can say the owner of the house here. So this is also a very important example when we are talking about the IoT and how we can make the house by using the IoT system in an intelligent manner for on or off the lights, or maybe other kind of equipments in the house. Now here, as I have discussed that here I have discussed that we have the cloud. In the architecture also, we have discussed about the cloud to store the data. And by this way, we can make IoT also an intelligent device by using different kind of platform. Sorry. We have here a variety of platform, or you can say these are the service provider which provide this IoT platform. And it are basically, you can say, these are the cloud service provider. As we know, these are the key players across the world in technologies. And this IoT platform are the middleware solutions that connects the IoT devices to the cloud. And it helps seamlessly exchange data over the network. And it acts as a mediator between the application layer and the hardware, which we have in the form of the things or the devices. And this platform plays a very important role And while choosing this platform, we have to ensure about the requirements, what kind of requirements we have for our system, whether the individual is going to implement the IoT system or whether any organization is going to implement IoT system. So is that depend on the requirement, we will go for a particular IoT platform and then select. And each and every IoT platform is having a specific key features. So accordingly, we will work for that platform. The first one, if you have a look here, the first IoT platform is here, Cumulocity, and it is one of the leading and independent device application management IoT platform, which improves the visibility and offer improved control over remote assets. It is a comprehensive cloud-enabled platform which makes the data and asset management for enterprise convenient and hassle-free. So this is one of the popular IoT platform in the market. Then the second one, as we know, Microsoft is a very big player in the IT world, and Microsoft Azure IoT platform is also a IoT platform which is used to store the data, and it is an open source cloud-based platform that helps in bringing local intelligence to the distributed Internet of Things. One of the top IoT platform, Azure IoT Suite, has virtual machines which offer fully configurable and flexible computing environment. The virtual machines can be resized based on the workload. For example, an organization is having multiple offices, and let's say, for example, 5 or 10 offices, then they can go for the Microsoft Azure based on the requirement again I have mentioned here. So whenever they can also do the resizing of this workload what they have on IoT Suite. In order to work for the Azure IoT Suite, the user has to pass the commands over the Azure PowerShell for starting and stopping the server and writing operations. This platform doesn't provide much more flexibility in terms of the management, different kind of user management. So that's the limitation for this IoT platform. Then the third category of the IoT platform, which is also very popular, which is provided by the Google Cloud, and it offers a complete set of tools to connect, process, store, and analyze data in the cloud. And you know that when we are talking about the cloud, storing the data, the edge cloud is also an important part, comes into the picture, because we can easily extract that data in a fast manner from the edge cloud. And this Google Cloud is one of the leading IoT platform which offers scalable, fully managed cloud services for on-premises cloud application. And many organizations are using this Google Cloud platform. This platform also provides extended AI capabilities with cloud IoT edge. Means it is more advanced version of the IoT platform. It is to be noted that there has a few programming languages and support application building on this platform. Means by using this platform, the user can build some kind of applications also in this IoT platform here. Now, then we have the AWS IoT platform. It is also one of the most reliable and secure Internet of Things platform, which is given by the Amazon. And AWS is also a very popular product of the Amazon company. And AWS IoT not only has to connect the devices to the cloud, but also safeguard the interaction with the application available on the cloud and other devices. This AWS IoT platform allows applications to monitor devices and facilitate round the clock communication between them. Then in the next category, we have the IBM Watson IoT platform. This is a PaaS-based platform given by the IBM company. IBM is a very old IT multinational company, and it is based on the PaaS. So what is the meaning of PaaS here? In cloud computing, we have different kind of platform systems. We have the infrastructure as a service, which is called IaaS. We have the platform as a service, which is called the PaaS, and we have software as a service, which is called the SaaS. And out of these three platform, this is based on the PaaS category platform. Now, this IBM Watson offer real-time data exchange, secure communication, and data sensor and weather data service. It is capable of handling huge quantity of data and provide improved customer services. So you can say these are the main features of this IBM Watson IoT platform. In the next category, we have here the Cisco IoT Cloud platform, which is popular with the name IoT Cloud Connect. This Internet of Things platform is a mobile cloud-based platform that offers solutions to mobile operators and provide flexible deployment option for devices. This platform mainly provides data and voice connectivity. Security in this platform is ensured by the Cisco. And as we know, the Cisco is a major giant in the networking field. So they provide a good good connectivity to the IoT network and normalize the data so that it can be used by the application in a better way to improve the decision-making ability of the individual as well as for the enterprises. In the last category, we have the Oracle IoT platform. The Oracle IoT platform, as we know that in the database, it is a big player, the Oracle. And now the Sun and the Oracle is working together. And this platform offers real-time data analysis, endpoint management, and high-speed messaging to provide real-time notifications directly to the user devices. So these are the various IoT platform which is used for the real-time applications, and individuals as well as the organizations are using depend on the requirements and availing their facilities. So how this IoT platforms is making an impact to the society as well as for the creating the business values in the system. These IoT platforms plays a key role in creating business values and the impact into the society. So on what parameters we will select which kind of IoT platform? So it depends on different factors, and that factors to be assessed before going to the, or you can say the deployment stage. So for example, that factors can be support, the availability, the cost, the recovery time. So these are some parameters which has to be measured before the deployment of any platform for the IoT system. So we have discussed about the different examples, different platforms, the architectures. Now, you know that whenever any technology comes into the market, it comes with some advantage. Then it becomes user-friendly or more popular in the world. The first one we have here, if you have a look here on the advantage of the IoT, we have the first one is the security. How the security is better in IoT system, that we can control the system. Let's say, for example, in your home through the mobile phone. it provides the personal protection. Means, for example, let's say due to any functions or work, you are out of your home and you want to see what's going on in what's going at your home end. And if you have IoT system and that are connected, then you can use that system and you can control your home and you can see uh, what's going on and what kind of activity is going there. Now, the second thing is that the stay connected means you connect virtually to means your family members also with your loved ones. That is also another benefit for the IoT devices. Then the third one is the efficient usage of electricity and energy, because you know that every month or maybe the quarter we have the electricity bill from the government. So in that case, this IoT system plays a major role. I want to compare it with the solar system also. Let's say if you have your solar system, once you install, then there is no use to install the other kind of heating water system in the house. So in the same way, we can implement or deploy the IoT system to save the electricity effectively, because the devices are directly connected and communicate with the controller device, such as the mobile phone. So you don't have to worry about unnecessary use of electricity and appliances in the house. So that's the one of the another advantage of the IoT system. Now, then we have here the pocket personal assistance, because through your PDA devices, whether your mobile phone or your pad, or you can access or you can track the informations, and you can set some kind of alarm systems also with these PDA devices. Then the road safety, many organizations are working for that kind of system or applications on the road safety. In that one of the popular, the GM General Motor is also a very popular multinational companies which produces a number of cars in the world. So they implemented this IoT system in the car integrated system that detects a car accident or the road accident. If an accident or the crashes is detected, it makes a call automatically. So that's also one of the advantages here. Now, the next one, moving ahead, we have the better healthcare and management system. In the healthcare industry, the doctors, the surgeons, the different doctors and the hospital management system, they can monitor the patient on the real-time basis, and doctor can also measure or see how the patient and then accordingly it makes the decision for that for the treatment of that patient. Now, then the next one we have the advantage is the cost efficient business operations. Many business operations such as asset tracking, inventory control, shipping, security, or marketing system or the sales services, they need a proper tracking system in the company or the organizations. In that kind of companies or enterprises, these IoT systems improve the performance or gives a better output for the different kind of business operations by the tracking mechanism system. So these are the major advantages which we can avail or we can use through we can get through different IoT application devices. So apart from that, there are some disadvantages also, because as we know that whenever any technology comes into the market, it comes with many advantages, but comes with some disadvantages also there. If I'm talking about different IoT applications, then the privacy, because privacy is a very important issue. That is also important factors in which we have to work more, and more research is going on in the security and the privacy field in the IoT. And then we have some kind of, the reliance on the technology also, on the electronic gadgets also. This is also one of the disadvantages when we are talking about the IoT system also. So these are summarized things what we have discussed in today's my talk, why IoT and 5G is important. Then I have discussed more about the IoT and the different kind of IoT examples. Then I have discussed the 5G, how the fifth generation's networks are working in the real world situations, and how we can club the IoT and 5G together for the benefit of the society or for benefit of the individuals or the organizations here. Then we have discussed about the major components, how and what are the important components when we are making for the IoT devices, and the architecture is the backbone for any IoT devices. Then we have discussed one example, how we can make the house by using the intelligent lighting system by adopting the IoT system. Then we have discussed about the IoT, various popular IoT platforms, which is required for the implementation of the IoT system. Then the last we have discussed about the advantages and disadvantages. So these are the summarized, which I have discussed in my today's lecture, the talk. And this is one of the recent paper which I have published along with some my collaboration work. And the title is here, the intelligent and optimal resource allocation approach in the sensor network for smart agri IoT. As you can see, this is published by the IoT Sensor Journal in 2020 recently. And what are the key aspects which I have used while in this paper? One is the WSN, wireless sensor network. Then second one, we have used agri IoT concepts and the BPNN and PSO approach, which is here is the back propagation neural network and empowered by the particle swarm optimization and Bayesian neural network and efficient resource utilization. So this is the one of the paper here. You can see here that I want to discuss here that this is an abstract view of the wireless sensor network framework. Here you can see that we have the cattle management here, and we have the fishery management, irrigation, and the machinery. And we have different kind of nodes here, and how these are connected with the BTS and the cloud system. So this is basically the abstract view here. Now, then after here, we use this mechanism, resource allocation optimization based on the PSO BNN. So what we have done here, first we have taken the objective function values as the training sample set of BPNN. Then after we have normalized the data, normalize whatever the data set we get. Then we use the swarm initialization technique, and then we set up some functions. Then we compare the value with optimal fitness to update particle position and velocity. Then we will identify that whether the iteration is giving the optimal result or not. If it is giving the optimal result, then we store the optimization solutions to the cloud. Otherwise, it will go back and set up the function again, and then we compare the value again. And then we use the BPNN approach to continue to optimize the pattern, and then we will get the best result and we will allocate that result. So these are the, this is the flow chart which we use.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, ma'am.
Sir, we are not able to see your screen. It's stuck on IoT platform only.
No, we can see. Few of us can see your
I
screen.
think, ma'am, you have internet problem at your side. All we are seeing the screen of progressing.
Voice is clear, but screen is not there. So why I asked. Okay, fine.
I think the bandwidth issue at your end.
Okay.
All right. Okay, Amit. Now this is the flow diagram which we use for this paper, and Then after we use some mathematical operations here, and this is the algorithm which is used for the training of BPNN for the resource allocations here. As you can see here, that we use some programming and some mathematical parameters here to check the values of the resources which we are getting from the data set. Then we apply the two different simulation scenario in this case, one with the node 100 amp into 100 amp, and number of nodes we have taken in the first scenario is 1000. Whereas in the second scenario, which is the last comparison to the previous one, in that area, we have coverage the area of 500 into 500, and the number of nodes we have taken the 10,000 nodes here. In the both simulations, we use the simulation time 1000 of millisecond, and then we perform the simulation result. And as you can see here, that different results, simulation result is shown here in this paper. So these are the paper. This is the one of the paper. Now, and these are the key aspects which we use for this paper. And I have one book also on the IoT area, and which is very basic, from basics to the application oriented level, as well as some case studies also included. And I'm as a co-author in this book, which is published by the BPB publication, and which is the one of the popular publisher in the field of the computer science and the IT field. So basically in this book, what we have covered different kind of principles of IoT apart from the basics, and what are the different frameworks which are used for the IoT, and different kind of application that various sectors, whether it is a healthcare or agriculture sectors or the smart city, we have covered in this book. And apart from that, it gives the more understanding about the architectures in the IoT area. So these are some key features, as you can see here for the book, which I have mentioned here. And for the university students, also some exercises, model question papers, some case studies also mentioned here in this book. So now we are at almost end of the lecture. And before that, I want to mention what are the emerging areas in this IoT field, and what are the researchers across the world are working, which is the 5G network and IoT in the category of the IoT enabled technologies. And as I mentioned, that security and the privacy is an important aspect. So a lot of research is going on the security and the privacy part, and the sensor and actuators, because these are the backbone for any IoT system. So also because different kind of sensors, different kind of actuators, networks, and how they are working. So that is also a best area for the research. And different IoT protocols, because a number of protocols, as we know that a number of protocols is utilized for the communication system. So that makes also and different standards, because it's going to implement in different different countries. So a variety of platforms or variety of standards are working. So how they are used and how we can integrate them for the better utilization of the IoT system. And as I mentioned in my lecture, that industrial IoT, which is very popular by IIoT, and that makes the specific to particular industries, and that is also a thrust area in the field of IoT. And apart from that, many countries, they are working for the smart city project, smart public places, smart environment. In that one also, they are incorporating the IoT devices. As we have seen, some smart home system, smart building systems, smart agriculture, how we can